It's for
Hi, this is Camille.
and I'm Kate. I always say it like that, like I'm Kate. And I was trying to think of how to switch it up. Hello, it's Kate. Everyone, how's that?
And and we are the Flashers.
Yep, I didn't even try to participate because I always end up doing it like 10 seconds behind you. Oh, and we are the fastest women alive.
What?
This sounds so natural, doesn't it?
If you didn't notice, we didn't record last week. We were both sick at some point during the week or the entire week.
Yep.
And lately we've been fighting depression and anxiety due to election results. So we're back though. And luckily there wasn't an episode this week. So we can go ahead and cover last week's episode. And I believe, is this episode 4 or 5?
Well, I put 4
Okay.
in the description, but I have no idea if that's actually true or not.
Oh,
Now that you
well,
say that.
last week's episode is what we're covering, whichever number that was.
Yep.
And
It's gonna take some time to refresh our memory because I didn't rewatch the episode and I should have. And if you have listened to our other episodes, you will know that I'm quite forgetful about important events such as family deaths. So, and I can't read any of my notes. This is gonna be interesting, guys. This is gonna be
We're gonna
fun.
make it. We're gonna
do
pull through. Okay, we need all the unity we can muster.
I got the Laverne and Shirley end of the theme song stuck in my head whenever you said we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it after all.
That's Mary Tyler. That's Mary Tyler Moore.
Oh, that's right. Wait, what was Laverne and Shirley?
Schlemiel, Schlemazel,
Schlemazel,
something
yeah.
Incorporated. We're gonna do it.
Yeah, that's right.
Any chance we'll take it. Give us any rule, we'll break it. We're gonna make our dreams come true. Doing it our way. I didn't even need to look up the lyrics. What?
Good. I think I almost started doing maybe the Good Times one at first. I don't know.
I mean, if you actually ever look at the lyrics to the Good Times theme song, it is very depressing. None of those are good times. No, they're like temporary layoffs, good times. No, but then you listen a little further and they're like, ain't we lucky we got them good times because of all the depressing stuff they just sung about in the chorus, in the verse. So yeah, it's
that's
very
fair.
good song. Yeah,
but probably very relevant to a lot of life.
Oh, very relevant. I'm very certain. Gotta keep the good times. And that's why we're here reviewing The Flash for you all.
Great transition. That was flawless.
Thank you.
I shouldn't even called it out, but it was just too good.
Oh yeah, so I think that's what we were supposed to be talking about first was if you haven't noticed, not only were we not here last week, but we also have had to move platforms for our podcast. So you can find us now on YouTube. It's not going to be video. We're not that brave yet to show our faces. We don't want you hunting us down in the streets to yell at us about The Flash.
Yeah.
But
and I don't want to have to put on makeup. I guess I wouldn't have to, but I probably would.
I think we may do. We can do a video one day. Yeah. We'll do a video for you lovely people so you can see our lovely faces at some point. Yeah, anyway, you can now listen to all of our episodes. You can stream them through YouTube. It's the Flashers Podcast is our username. Pretty much the same as it was on SoundCloud. And the reason we moved from SoundCloud was really just financial. I'm going to be real about it. We're both kind of broke. And SoundCloud was kind of expensive. We looked at some other options, and
but we're still broke.
We're still broke. Yeah. The other options also asked us to give them money for their services, and all we got were chickens. So for now, until we get a little bit more backing, we will be on YouTube. So please join us there, and you may get a surprise live type video of us actually recording at some point. So that'll be fun.
That will be fun. Lots of facial expressions, I'm sure. We'll try to do that on an episode where there's a lot of Iris West, so you guys can see my reaction faces and how I genuinely feel.
You can just see the seething hate in a real full HD color 1080p type style. All right, so on to today's review of The Flash. So I'm going to start at the very beginning because that's a very good place to start. It's going to be a musical episode before the musical episode. Wow. So you have Barry running around the kitchen, fixing some breakfast. And I honestly thought Iris was going to walk out of a room in a t-shirt. And I was like, oh, Kate's going to hate this. This is my first episode. But it's actually Barry living with Cisco because that seemed to be the natural progression instead of just finding his own place after leaving Joe's place is to move in with your best friend, I guess. I'm sure people do that, right?
I mean, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, you leave your parents' house and then you get a roommate, and it's probably your best friend in most cases. I found some random girl I went to college with, and we ended up not liking each other. So it didn't really, no love lost there. But we see Cisco and Barry interacting in the morning. Cisco, very much like me, not a morning person at all. And Cisco kind of alludes to his mistrust of the new HR, as he likes to be called.
Oh, yeah.
Harrison Wells doppel. And
which just very random, that thing, just like all of a sudden he didn't, which I guess, whatever, things happen. I forget that you have to remember that things happen in between, life happens within these fiction worlds in between episodes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, not actually, but I forget you have to remember.
Time passes.
Yes.
At least a little. There is some interactions that happen off camera, we'll say.
Yeah. So yeah, but Cisco's apartment is very amazing, very stereotypical of, or very typical of a, not stereotypical, very typical of a show, particularly with young people in it, having an amazing loft with like a brick accent wall,
brick walls, and everything.
You know, just very industrial and very amazing. And even though it's a nerdy scientist guy living there, it's very cool and decorated. Very, I don't know. I'd live with them, but still.
So that brings up an actually really good question because, you know, there's always that kind of weird controversy around TV show apartments, especially TV shows set in cities like New York, where you're like, okay, Monica is a chef. She wouldn't, even on a chef's salary, she couldn't afford that apartment. But granted, she's sharing it with 3 people, but all of their jobs are kind of crap. None of those people could afford those kind of apartments. So that my question, how do Caitlin and Cisco make money?
Right. Yeah, that's a great question.
Because Star Labs is defunct for all intents and purposes.
Yeah, because the real Harrison Wells that ran it is not really, especially, that's a great question.
I mean, why would the city still be paying, who's paying them?
Do they have like a really great, do they just still have the money from the other Harrison Wells? Do they just still have his funds? But still, that...
didn't he leave like his stuff to Barry or something?
The real one? The one that...
No, the fake one ended up leaving Barry behind, I thought, some funds. Maybe that's where they get their money. Someone correct us on this. But at some point Barry can't keep paying everyone's salaries forever. Like, and what is Cisco's salary in order to afford that apartment?
Yeah.
It is gorgeous. Like, what are the rents in Central City? Should I move there? Because I feel like I could be doing much better. If I, socially, if I lived in Central City.
I just want to see an apartment that looks like a normal apartment. You know, that standard, here's a living room that has a dining room in the same area. And then there's a small hallway, bathroom, popcorn ceilings, just like a normal average. And guess what? Every other apartment in the building looks the same. That would just be very different from
where you're paying $800 for 400 square feet.
Yeah.
and your toilet is in your bedroom.
Yeah.
Give us some reality. Just come on. Yeah,
And
I feel you.
yeah. The friends, I think they tried to, the grandmother had owned the apartment.
That's right. It was
So I
rent
think that's
control.
like, I think that's how they got around that. But then to have, that's like the only large room in the whole building. Because even if they go with Chandler and Joey's apartment, it's small, but
It's
then
smaller.
they
Yeah.
visited other people's apartments in the same building, like Mr. Heckles, and then the guy that Jennifer Aniston dated for a little bit, the Yeti.
Wow, you remember
Like
a
they all
lot
look.
more Friends than I
Yeah, I used to be
do.
really obsessed with the show, like seriously obsessed. But anyway, I just always thought that was weird. Like they were the only ones with a really big apartment, and everybody else had
These
little dinky
modical,
ones.
right? Oh, the
Yeah.
magic of
Anyway, moving
TV.
away.
So Barry and Cisco are talking about HR, the new Harrison Wells, and Cisco has reservations, which are completely natural.
The
And
same as Camille has
Barry,
had.
yeah, Barry is like, no, we can't just stop trusting people and giving people chances. And you know what, Barry, you're wrong. Okay, you can stop trusting people and giving them chances, given that you have a record of trusting the wrong people. Like you've been
Yeah.
fooled time and time again. I think Cisco is completely justified in being like, maybe we shouldn't trust this dude.
Yeah.
Because that's what I would be. And I complained, you're right. I complained about that. I was like, oh, so they're all just suddenly cool with this stranger from another Earth. Okay.
Earth.
It makes no stupid Earth 19.
So I wonder how many Earths there actually are in this universe of theirs.
143. I just made that up.
I was like, really?
If that is right, I will be so surprised. But it's probably not. I'm sure there's infinite Earths. So yeah, after that we move on to Caitlin, who is, we find out, is visiting her mom, who also is a scientist. And I'm sure this is like a 70s, 80s, maybe an 80s or 90s TV actress that I should know. I'm sure they're referencing
she looked
someone.
familiar. I just didn't know who she was.
And I didn't look her up. But
yeah.
So Caitlin's mom, who's also a scientist, very brilliant, apparently runs some sort of lab herself.
There's a lot of labs in Central City. I mean, I think she went to
a very
different
tech and science heavy city. It's probably like a Seattle type of vibe.
I think she went to a different city though, I want to say.
Did she?
I don't know. I feel like they mentioned something as she was like gotta leave town.
I don't think so because they jump really quickly from place to place. And I'll get to that because that's another contention I have with TV shows. So anyway, we see Caitlin going to her mom, asking for help with a quote unquote patient who displays certain qualities. And her mom is like, well, just send me the files. And you see where Caitlin and her mom apparently don't speak to each other very frequently. They have a very contentious relationship. And Caitlin very rapidly loses her temper, slams her hand on the desk and freezes the entire desk. And her mom is instantly, I can help. Let's go. I'm like, how are people just so okay with powers? Like your daughter, the person you gave birth to, just froze a desk in front of your eyes. And your first answer was like, let's go to the lab. Like no shock. There was no registering of like, what the F.
Well,
it was just smoke.
She even did that whenever she was like, yeah, Mom, I do know what you mean because my husband died a year ago. Or she's like, oh, sorry. Like,
moving on though.
I didn't even know that she was married. Like what? Like I get it. You're estranged. Like, but she was just like, oh, sorry about that. That's anyway. Time to get some blood.
Right.
So it's like, okay, so Caitlin is a genius with a not so nice mom, and the mom is also a genius. And then I was just like, well, her mom would have been really, really disappointed if Caitlin was just a baby eyes doctor, like she was in the other timeline.
Like, your baby eye doctoring is not good enough in this family, Caitlin.
She's like, you could have been in this lab, you could have done this, you could have done that. And then she's like, I wanted to work on baby eyes. Like seriously, she probably would have been like, that's probably why they would have stopped talking in the other timeline, because she was like, you're wasting your potential on children's eyes. What I got from that.
Yes, that is exactly what would happen.
Well, in my head. in the other timeline. I'm still in the other timeline.
You know who's dead though now, don't you? Like we're all caught up on the dead people.
Well, if I'm in the other timeline, nobody's dead.
Ding ding. Well, nope, not true.
Who?
Oh wait, someone almost dies. Never mind. You're right. You're right.
Yeah, we don't know because Barry just brushed to conclusions and
you don't know at all.
Just was like, well, he seems like he's gonna die, so let me just run some more.
So then we go to Star Labs, and you have the gangs all there. And that brings me to my next point. How do TV people have all of these infinite hours before they go to work to get things done? So you see Caitlin go to her mom's, right? You see Barry and Cisco have their whole little shebang. Then they all go to Star Labs. And then both Barry and Iris are like, well, we better get to work. What time is it? Like, when does your work day start? And do you people get up at 4 a.m. every day to get all this stuff done? Like, I wake up with enough time to get dressed and walk out the door to go to work. I can't imagine waking up and being able to go to multiple locations, look fresh and rejuvenated, see all my friends in all these other locations, and then have a Team Scooby powwow at the lab before going to my job. That is exhausting.
Well, here's my answer for you. On this particular TV show. 1, Barry's always late. That's kind of what they keep saying. He's always late.
True.
So he probably would get to work on time if he actually stopping by Star Labs. And I also wonder how far Star Labs is away from his actual job. Obviously, like, you know, Cisco and Caitlin, they already work at Star Labs where they are hanging out. Joe, I don't even know. And Iris, she doesn't even follow dress code, so I know she's definitely not going to follow.
She's not clocking in on time at all.
She's not. She's like, I'm salaried. I've got my dissertation in my tiny little skirt, and I will show up when I want. That's Iris. So that's my answer for you.
Okay. Well, I accept it. I accept that wholeheartedly. I need to work in Central City because apparently their labor, their organizations are really lax on what time you need to show up for work.
I think I wrote Harrison Wells fun, but it looks like Harrison Wells ton ? And
I don't know what you mean by Harrison Wells fun or HR fun. I don't remember.
HR. I'm not going to be able to remember to say HR. Maybe because I don't know, because he was
passing out
coffees and stuff, right?
Yeah,
and he was
passing out everyone's coffees, and he was trying to be, he's like apparently read all their files, and he's carrying around drumsticks for some reason, drumming on things.
I thought it was a wand at first. It's like, because he only had one. And I was like, is that a wand? Like, what is he doing? Is that like a nod to Draco? Like, what is that? Like, I just didn't know.
I'm gonna have to say I did also think it was a wand for a minute.
Okay, so, good.
But then I realized later it was a drumstick, and I was like, oh, because he's kind of he's a hipster, you know. He's that guy.
He's artsy. Yeah, he should carry around a typewriter. That'd get heavy, I guess. But you wouldn't confuse it for a wand, so true. I don't know. What's the right answer here? But yeah. And he wasn't really, you know, saying anything in particular, was he? He was just kind of...
He was vamping. He was vamping with them, and they were trying to figure out a problem, and he was saying this and this and that, and then everybody went to work. But he definitely... Cisco admonished him for trying to be too friendly too quickly. Cisco got like, just chill, watch us do what we do, and then you can try to jump in. I don't trust you, dude.
Yeah. He's like, oh, is it the French roast? He's like, it's not the French roast. I just really wanted a latte after that.
So, yeah.
Julian.
There you go. Thank you. He tattles on Barry because of his tardiness and his poor work ethic. And the chief basically just lets him off with a, stop doing that, Barry. Get out of here. And that really pisses off old Draco there. And
what about the rules?
I will say I did see a bit of that old, very much of a Draco Malfoy come out when he was like yelling at Barry. And he was like, something, 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 Barry. And I was like, Potter. Really should have just shouted Potter instead. It would have been funny.
I love that he went from hating Harry to hating Barry. Great stuff.
Good stuff. Good times.
That's definitely some typecasting. The next movie, if it's not a rom-com, he's gonna hate some guy named Larry. So
Larry or Gary or Terry.
maybe switch it up. Ooh, maybe in his rom-com he'll hate a girl named Mary.
Oh, I was gonna say fall in love with a girl named Terry.
Oh.
I don't know. I was just trying to stay with 2 R's.
Oh, yeah.
But whatever.
You could change it
well, in rom-coms, they fall in love and then they hate each other, then they fall in love again. So it could be Mary.
Yeah, he could be in 2 rom-coms. He could branch out and hate Terry and Mary.
True. And then marry them both.
What?
Mary, and Terry. So then we go, so I think at that point, Barry tricks him into kind of trusting him and saying, hey, I really just want to learn from you. And if it doesn't work out, you can have the lab, the office all to yourself. I'll move into the basement, which I don't know how this police station has this much nice space just laying around.
Or how they can just... Yeah, or how they're just like, I can just take this office, like, no big deal. Like, I could, when we worked at where we met, I could even, like, switch freaking cubicles, like...
You have to switch phones. You have to take your computer docking station with you. There's all these papers. You have to, it's a whole to-do. So this is a very loosey-goosey town, apparently, when it comes to workers, rules, and
nobody would have wanted my phone because I was always sick.
Full of germs.
Full of germs, according to
Nancy.
They probably were, but whatever.
Yeah, those horrible germs that last for 2 weeks on a phone.
Yeah.
So we see then Julian and Barry go to investigate the new big bad for this episode, which is a giant Godzilla type Cloverfield top type creature, which is kind of cool. I was really kind of excited. I was like, this is not a speedster. This is not some weird person. This is awesome. Like, this is an actual monster to fight.
It's Reptar.
Reptar, the mighty. So yeah, there's Reptar's monster.
I wonder if you're sorry. I was trying to turn that up so I could hear you. Reptar's monster.
Reptar's monster.
Sound effects built in.
Yes.
I always forget that people can hear things that I do outside of just talking.
I forget when I make sounds. People have ears to hear them. So Barry shows up to fight the new monster, which again, I'm so glad there's an actual monster to fight instead of another speedster or a metahuman. And we also find out from Julian just before this that his big deal with metahumans and with Barry is, again, Barry breaks the rules all the time. He never has any punishments. He's horrible at his job. And then he's pissed because metahumans squander their gifts. And he's super jealous. Not sure if he wants powers himself or if he just wants no one to have powers.
Yeah.
But either way, he's not having it. He's not a meta fan at all. I personally thought he was going to be like, a meta killed my father. And be very like
Star Warsy about
very
it.
Dramatic. Yeah.
I don't know why I said Star Warsy. I was imagining how you said that as Luke, I am your father, but I didn't even.
I am your father.
But yeah, so this dinosaur is chilling, just walking through Central City. So there's this bus of people because everything's just getting wrecked, and even though the dinosaur isn't actually doing anything, it's not causing any destruction. It's not like stomping on stuff. People are just freaking out because there's a large dinosaur thing, Godzilla. So they're kind of causing their own issues. But there's a bus of people and they're trying to get out, and of course Iris is there because obviously she had just gone to work at like whatever the hell she wanted to, and she's trying to pry the doors open, and Barry's like, what are you doing here? And I don't remember what she said. I think I kind of either had sniffles or something, and I just didn't hear what she said. Something about like, you're not the only one that can help, Barry. But I was just like, I feel like they spent all their money on like the hospital with Magenta. There was like 20 people in the hospital. They used all their extras inside of the bus, so they're like, well, let's just get Iris to like open the bus.
She's the only one we have. Yeah, that made really no sense to me, her being there. One, because why would she be there suddenly? And two, because of how suddenly she was there. Like, you see the bus crash, Barry sees the bus crash. He runs up to the bus, and Iris is there before he is. And it's literally within seconds, at least 2 seconds, and she's over there trying to pry open the doors. And I'm just
with
like,
high heels on.
Where the F did Iris come from? And like, how, what? Like,
and that made no sense to me. Anybody says anything, don't even try to say that Iris is waiting for the bus, because you know she ain't riding the bus, guys. She not.
You know that girl don't take no public transportation. Okay.
Okay.
She don't do it. She doesn't do it.
You know, that's why I was like, okay, well, clearly, you know, it was one of those things where they were also like, you're not the only one that can help Barry just because I don't have superpowers. And it was like, okay, Iris, like, this is the time to make a point. There's a dinosaur. But if they were trying to do something like that, I thought it could have been more interesting if they had Wally, which was even in this episode, I don't even remember, do that because of his conflict of... Oh, he did, didn't he? He got some sort of latte, right? But yeah, that would have been more interesting because of his conflict of not having his speedster gifts in this timeline and him trying to help, and then Barry intervening, and it's like, dude, I can do this, like, just because I don't have my gifts because you screwed up this timeline, like, I can still open a bus. That would have been more interesting than Iris trying to make a point or whatever, or just, I don't know.
Yeah.
In my opinion, they missed a very lovely opportunity for conflict and character building.
So then the monster magically disappears, kind of just, vanishes, which leads us then to Barry fulfilling his plan of trying to get on Julian's good side by being his shadow.
That's right.
And we see them investigating a crime scene, and the monster comes back briefly, and Barry almost exposes himself a little bit there and saves Julian from a falling sign. And Julian, for some reason, thought he was going to shoot the monster to death with his little gun. I don't even know why he has a gun that apparently he's trained and licensed to carry.
Oh, yeah, he was somewhere in this episode.
Oh, he was in the British Guard or something, yeah. I think he said. And
of course you were.
After Barry saves him, he gives him a very British thank you. He's like, cheers. How more British can you get other than just saying cheers after someone saves your life?
I feel like they were like, Tom, just say something British. It'll be fine.
Should have said bollocks. Just
Brexit. Somewhere in between there, I think we jump back to Caitlin. I don't have too many notes on that. I don't know. I think I tried to make a note on her and I couldn't articulate what I was trying to say. Something about her. I didn't really understand why she was being tested in some ways. Because if she's a metahuman, then she's a metahuman. She's been working with metahumans, so why are you testing your a metahuman?
Right.
Or did she not get her powers from being in the particle? Did they just manifest some other way? Is that why if
there was a change in her timeline to where she wasn't there for the particle explosion and now her powers are suddenly manifesting for another reason?
Yeah, but I guess she was still there for the particle accelerator, right? Because then
I'm pretty sure she was. I feel like that much didn't change.
Yeah. So then that's why I'm like, why would you get tested?
I had the same kind of confusion. Like, what more testing can you do when you work in a place where that's what you do all the time? And I think she actually states that she's run tests herself. And there was also how, like, they were so instantly ready to test all of her powers. Like, here's this boiling hot lava we have in our lab for you to freeze so we can test how powerful you are. I was like, where are you? What kind of science do you do, ma'am? Your mom's a witch to you, but you trust her for some reason. And can I also, just kind of weird sub point here, I was very confused by Caitlin's hair when they were testing her because she had all of these little things on the side of her head. And I was like, what kind of, like, yeah, but I thought they were some sort of nodes to test her brain waves. And I was like, oh, well, that's fancy. They don't even have wires. But then I realized later that they were bobby pins and it was kind of a fashion statement. And then I promise you, yesterday or day before yesterday, I see an article from some fashion website saying, ooh, the new hot trend, wearing bobby pins in fashionable styles of different colors. And I'm like, oh, really?
Oh, well. Because I thought it was cute. Because I still wear, if I'm trying to pin my bangs back, I'll try and make an X out of my bobby pins because I had seen that somewhere, like when I was like 17. Ooh, I was like, it didn't even occur to me I could make an X. Anyway,
I just remember the ones that had like rhinestones in them that you would wear to like prom.
Oh yeah,
That was
or
super fancy.
butterflies.
Ooh, butterfly clips. What?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And
But
then I
yeah,
couldn't understand also why she would go to her mom, who she apparently has this contentious relationship with, instead of your friends who
yeah,
trust and love you. You go to your bad mom and a stranger that you don't know for them to. And at that moment, I was like, something's up. They're going to do something to her, and she's never
yeah.
going to see her. She's not going to see her friends for 4 more episodes.
This was my theory. One, thinking in a science way, not that I'm like super scientific in the brain. Obviously, with that statement right there, scientific in the brain. Should have said my cranium. I'm just kidding. No, I guess maybe my thoughts is they only saw the Caitlyn with these powers as Killer Frost as somebody that was evil, so maybe they would just already kind of have that bias as far as her powers go.
True. Yeah.
And that would make it hard to maybe run certain tests or be, I don't know, as disconnected from it as her mom would be from a science standpoint. I think her mom even says like you have to keep emotions out of this. It's for the best or something. But then, yeah, I was kind of like you. Like, why does she have the stuff to test all of these things? And if it wasn't manifested from the or didn't happen because of the particle accelerators, like, is this a hereditary thing? Is her mom is this just like a thing that they have, like mutant, like a gene? Like, because I don't know, I just kind of was wondering, it just felt, I don't know, like they were trying to do some foreshadowing, but maybe I was just reading into it as that.
I don't
I
think
don't know.
I don't think it's a thing that happens in their families. I think it's definitely from the particle accelerator.
Then why does she
But
have lava?
maybe her science is lava science. Maybe that's what she does for a living. So
That makes sense.
see, your sciencey brain is not better than my scientific brain and stuff. So
Maybe it's a hobby. She likes to make lava lamps. It soothes her. But because she's a scientist, she uses real lava.
It's very badass. So yeah, then I think we go back to the Star Labs after that, and we see, am I right? We see the team trying to solve the monster problem.
Forgive us, guys. Can I just say this? Like, forgive us. It's been a week. We were both sick.
We won't do this ever again to y'all. This is horrible.
We just didn't. Okay, here's the thing, guys. Let's just be real. One, we were both sick last week, okay? We did watch the episode. We were fully prepared to record, but sickness happens, okay? And you would not have enjoyed hearing us cough and sniffle and whatever else. You probably would have gotten sick through the airwaves. Two, we could have rewatched the episode, but we've had a presidential election going on, so we were being American citizens and paying attention to the political system of our country and not the Flash for the second time in a week because we were sick. Sorry for getting things jumbled up. We're just gonna pretend that Barry's been freaking. I'm trying to say the F word. I was trying to say the F word, so I went to he's been screwing up our timeline, and that's why everything's mixed up with what we're saying. That's what we're gonna go with. So bear with us. Freaking. I don't know. Continue, my love.
But yeah, so we go back to the lab and they are trying to figure out the monster issue. Harrison, or HR, I should say, trying to throw out a bunch of ideas to help and, kind of frustrating Cisco and, kind of just being himself. He's a talker. He gesticulates a lot. He has his drumsticks and he moves about and he kind of talks fast and
isn't really saying anything in particular, just
throwing out ideas and words and
none of it makes sense, which sounds very familiar.
So at some point they come up with a plan to use fancy rope to catch the monster. And we see, Cisco and Harrison have this kind of tiff in Cisco's lab space, private lab space, after which HR pulls out a recording device that looks like a pen, and he starts to record about how his plan is working, blah, 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 blah. And at that point, I was like, you know what? This is too obvious for HR to be an evil character. Like, this is just too obvious. And I wrote this before the end of the episode, grant you. I wrote down, maybe not smart, though, just running away. And we see how that turned out.
Running away from Earth.
Yeah, running away from something
smart,
on Earth 19. He's not smart. He's just running away from something else. That was my exact thought at that time. Which later on, spoilers, kind of ends up being true. So I either watch way too much TV or I'm a genius.
I was just like, yeah, he's being shady, but
don't know why.
Before they started doing all the lava lamp testing, I thought Nigel and Caitlin had a moment. I was like, all right, more interracial love. Like, let's keep it up. But then he turned out to be crazy and was... Which, seriously, you're testing her for freaking powers and you're going to piss her off? Like,
that's not smart.
She can't control. Like, oh, don't you, sir. I will freeze you. Like, do you not understand that?
Yeah, so Nigel and Caitlin are alone. He's going to, quote unquote, do some testing, but she's kind of ready to go. She's over it. Her and her mom have kind of had a falling out. And Nigel goes full baddie on her, tries to lock her in the room because apparently he has some grudge against her mom. Apparently her mom's just a horrible person and no one in that office likes her or in life likes her. But
except for possibly Caitlin's dad, who's dead.
But well, I thought it was a little anticlimactic that, you know, all of a sudden, because I personally saw it coming, like they were going to either trap her there or kidnap her. Something was going to happen to where she wasn't going to leave that lab. Mm-hmm. But I did find it very interesting how quickly she switched into like a killer mode. Like her power, I don't know if maybe alchemy is somehow subconsciously controlling her. Is her power always going to turn her evil no matter what happens? Yeah. Because she went from like 0 to murder like in a heartbeat. Not like I'm just going to hurt you, you know, ice the ground so you slip and fall so I can make my getaway. No, like, she like froze his, like she was about to freeze his blood, I feel. Yeah. And, you know, and she kind of gets all dark until her mom burst into the room and breaks it all. So, I mean, I think that kind of proves Julian's point as well. Apparently all other metas other than Barry seem to turn bad, which is a very weird concept.
But I guess, and I just kind of thought of this, because I don't remember too much of the backstory of Killer Frost, other than I do remember she was a scientist and that she was in like Antarctica or something and she got trapped somewhere and almost like a poison ivy type thing, like scientist, and got trapped within her own element of what she studied. And and then the experiment itself, in a sense. I'm sure I'm butchering that in some way, but it seems very similar in that way. And so that it just kind of reminded me of poison ivy a little bit. Because it's weird that Caitlin's super nice person and then all of a sudden like just crazy. But
instant crazy, yeah.
And it was just kind of weird how the mom was just like, go, I'll take care of him. And I'm like, what are you gonna do? Because his hand is frozen. Like, like kill him? Are you gonna pour lava on him and just...
She might kill him, or she might grab a hairdryer and just kind of defrost him.
It's fine. Just
a little, my Con Air will take care of that.
I need to look up some of the stuff on Killer Frost because, if she was good before, then that would be even more interesting. But yeah, just super weird. Just, all right, go, I'll take care of it. It's cool. Like, what?
Run, my child, run. And then they make up, and it's kind of nice for a moment. Yeah. So where do we go from here?
All right, so he, at some point, I don't even know when, he doesn't like the Flash, right? He says he doesn't like the Flash. I don't remember his reasoning for it, but he doesn't like him. Even though he's doing good things, which was his complaint, he still doesn't like him. Oh, because it somebody who's like the police force. He's like,
it makes
them lazy. Which, we've kind of touched on that. I think you did that, that Barry doesn't need to run to go help everything. And this is
right. Let the police do something. Right.
Yeah,
right.
like if it's like a robbery, like let the police handle it. So yeah, I'm with you on that, Draco. But he still doesn't like him. But then he complains about how all the metas do are turn evil and not help anybody. But it's like, well, you don't like the guy that is helping, the meta that is helping, but then you're going to complain about how all they do is do bad things. So, and then complain about how you don't have powers, because if you did have powers, you would have used them for good.
Like, make up your mind.
It doesn't make any sense. I was just like, this did the writers like forget to like look at the beginning of the script? Because I think that happens in the beginning of the episode where he doesn't like the Flash and he's talking about him, and then at the end he's contradicting it. And I was like, did you guys just not flip some pages back to make sure this made sense? Because it doesn't make sense.
Makes no sense at all.
It was very annoying to me how contradicting those two statements were, because it just didn't make sense. It didn't, and it bothers me, and I can't explain it any other way than it didn't make sense.
I don't like it.
I didn't. It was stupid to me, because I was just like, what is your reasoning? Like, you're trying to have this moment of character buildup for you, but you don't make any sense. So Barry and Cisco go and look through Harrison's crap. They start looking through his stuff. They start investigating him because they're like, I don't know about this guy. So then, like, well, you just need to vibe him, or you need to do whatever. And so then Cisco goes and looks through his things, and he finds the recorder, the pen. Remember?
Yes.
And then HR walks in, and that's whenever he's like, oh, I'm a novelist. Right? Isn't that what happens? Because I said I don't know if I believe him, if he's just a novelist.
He tells them a story about how he basically pulled a Roxanne in his last in Earth 19, where he had portrayed himself to the citizens there as this great thinker, the scientist. He wrote fiction books, I believe, but really there was an actual scientist behind him the whole time. And he's now come to this Earth to somehow redeem himself to that Earth, to go back to them and with these amazing tales. And he makes the joke H.R. Wells, which, H.G. Wells, ha ha ha, funny. So we find out he's basically a fraud, and he doesn't know why they don't trust him. And I'm like, really, dude? Didn't you read their file? I think you know why.
Who's keeping up with these files?
I don't know. That was weird. Like, have they been keeping these random journals? Like, is it like the real world where they do video journals every day about,
Hey, Caitlin here. I've been having a killer time here at Star Labs. Nobody gets that yet, because I don't know yet that I have powers. I'm wasted.
So great.
Talk to you later. That was a terrible Caitlin impersonation, but if she was in the real world, I would assume that's what she'd sound like. Anyway, yeah, who's keeping with these files? Like, who's updating the crappy things that are happening to them? There's a secretary there that we don't even know about.
Right, she haven't even introduced to.
Gladys, the unsung hero of Star Labs.
Good old Gladys.
Keeping those files.
Her stenographer's license. She has one of those like old-timey court stenographer machines, or she's just typing away.
Tiny little glasses at the end of her nose.
Like there's only 3 keys, but apparently you can type all the letters of the alphabet. Someone explain that to me. I'm too lazy to look it up. How do those machines work? That's cool.
It doesn't seem like it would be easier to do, but whatever. I was wondering because so then they decide to do the roping thing with the Godzilla, and they're making a reference to The Empire Strikes Back, right? He says Empire of the Sun.
Yes.
And I thought he was making a musical joke because he seems to like music, and I thought he was talking about the band Empire of the Sun. And I thought that was really clever, if that's what they were doing. I could be reaching, but if you haven't listened to the Empire of the Sun, really great. And I think they have a new album out. Anyway, so then that's whenever we end up with Barry figures out that he tries to rope it really fast and like get it to fall down, right? The Godzilla. Then just jump over like.
I don't even think they tried that.
I thought he tried, and that's whenever he realized it was a hologram, because he was spinning around it, and then the rope was just going through it, and he's like, oh, it's a hologram. And then he was like, oh, there are snipers getting ready to shoot it. And then he had to stop the bullets. And then Julian was going rogue.
Yes.
And not like rogue like X-Men. I didn't skip over to Marvel, but like he's just going off into his little British, I was in the army thing. And with his little pew-pew gun. And he almost killed that kid.
He almost killed. We find out the monster is actually a hologram, like you said, being projected by some kid for some douchey reason. I don't even remember why.
No, he was being bullied. That's fine. He wanted to feel powerful.
Well, that's still really. So you're going to terrorize an entire city because a few people are bullying you.
It's not a great reason, but also in case a youngster is listening to this. I'm sure we seem really old to you, but we're really not, I promise. Bullying sucks, and if you're getting bullied, it's going to be okay. It gets better, because I, too, was bullied. Well, was picked on. But anyway, it sucks. But, carry on. It'll be okay. That's all I'm saying. I had to do that PSA. But yeah, and I just remember he was like in a warehouse, and I was like, it doesn't seem legal to question a kid in a warehouse. Like, why at the PlayStation?
Maybe you should take him to booking. Yeah. His parents should be involved at that point.
Right.
This town, they just don't follow regulations at all. It's all hopscotchy, doodly-dee, apple saucing.
Apple saucing. Yeah, because there were like 20 cop cars out 5 seconds ago, and you guys are ready to snipe this hologram, and then all of a sudden you have this kid just sitting on a crate or something and handcuffed and just questioning him. And I was like, this just doesn't seem legal. But because I think that's whenever you find out that he did it because he was being bullied.
Yeah.
And I think that probably enhanced the guilt that Draco was feeling about potentially shooting a kid because he was getting all willy-nilly about stuff. And which, let's remind you, this is a forensic scientist that's running around Central City with a gun and just trying to be a cop all of a sudden. A British forensic scientist.
Hey, now, I'm sure
there's nothing wrong with
can shoot.
No, I don't mind that. It's just that, again, you don't want to go to England and maybe help out there? Like, why are you just running around Central City trying to be an American cop? You don't want to. This is not the time for that.
This is not the time or the place for that. Right
yeah, now. You might want to just back over.
England probably does it better.
They don't even use guns, do they?
Regular patrol, I believe, right? I don't know if you call them regular police officers, do not have firearms. I know their special SWAT or whatever their equivalent of a SWAT team does. And I believe some, if not all of their DCIs, their special detectives do have weapons.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you're just a uniform beat cop type, you do not.
Yeah. And then I think now we're back at Star Labs, and that's when they're having their powwow with Harrison Wells. Because I have the biggest question as to why is Iris and Wally there for this? They aren't really part of the team. Like, what do you honestly contribute to this? You're not on this payroll. You don't have any files. Gladys doesn't have your W-9.
To be fair, Iris did just save a bus full of people.
Not really, because she couldn't even get the doors open. She was standing outside. She was trying to save them, but she should have been at her other job, or her only job. She just, I don't know. That bothers me. Not that it's Iris. Don't get me wrong. Not that it's Iris.
Well, let's be fair. Wally had no other role in this episode. So throw the kid a bone.
Exactly, because he could have had the bus thing, and they didn't let him have that. And
well, let's be honest. He's probably been trying to hunt down Club Alchemy.
Yeah, where's Club Alchemy? Where's Club Alchemy? Where's Gladys? Gladys is Club Alchemy.
Gladys is Club Alchemy. Oh no! How did we miss it?
She has all the files. She knows their weaknesses.
She knows too much.
She knows their socials.
You know what? They probably didn't get her a card on Administrative Assistance Day. This is why you appreciate your administrative professionals, people. They matter and they know all your secrets.
And they will turn into Club Alchemy and they will wreak havoc. That would be amazing.
They will mess your ass up. Okay. Do not date your administrative assistants, please.
Nope. And just say please and say thank you every once in a
Write your
while.
own dang emails.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still bitter from my last job. Anyway, anywho.
So Glasses Club
Make your
Alchemy,
own
we figured it
copies.
out.
Jeez.
That was probably me because I couldn't use the printer. I was always asking your help. I've just to use the technology. Yeah, I just always, that's just annoying to me. Like, why are you here? You're not a part of the team. I guess in some ways, but what do you really contribute, guys?
Look, as soon as Wally gets his powers from Club Alchemy, he's going to be contributing the heck out of things, okay? He's going to contribute left and right, or he's going to turn into an evil D-bag.
Yeah.
Which I feel is exactly what's about to happen. So, but we do get to, are we at that point where we have Julian and Barry having kind of a bro moment, if you will, a little, let's try to be friends or trying to build some bridges. It's a really nice little moment. I think Julian cries a bit. But at the same time, I have a sneaking suspicion that he knows who Barry is, because I don't know, maybe it was just me, but they're talking across the room from each other and Julian's like about to leave, but his computer is open. And at some point he glances down at his computer. I don't know how I remember this and not the rest of the freaking episode, right? It's the small things, right?
Yeah.
He glances at his computer while Barry is talking and he looks back up at Barry. And I there was something in his countenance, the way he was behaving in that, it was just like a split second, but I was just like, he knows what's up. He knows that Barry is the Flash, and he's just gonna go with the theory of that, or he wants to become a Flash now too. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I just, in big exclamation points, I was like, he knows. Draco knows.
So yeah, you think there's some sort of hidden agenda there, in his confession to Barry about the life that he had and all that?
Yeah, there's something up with that, because like you said, kind of with the contradictions before, he's like, I'm not going to spill my guts to you, blah 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 blah, this isn't our this big moment where I reveal to you my horrible childhood, and then he does it at the end of the episode, which I get. He seems traumatized by nearly shooting an innocent child, or somewhat innocent child, but to instantly open up, I don't know, I've never shot at anyone. I assume there's a lot of emotions involved that maybe you would suddenly just spill your guts to whoever would listen. But again, he gave him a look. He did something weird in that moment. And I was just like, no, he's up to something. He's up to something. And I
have to rewatch that.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, I don't remember all of Draco's sad story. because I think I checked out because I was just like, oh, like, because you were the weird kid that, you didn't want to fulfill this British, I don't know, I can't think of the word.
Aristocratic.
Yes, thank you. I was like, I think I was trying to combine two words that were not it.
Aristocrats?
Yeah, I don't know. Astrocosity, I think was what I was trying to say. I was like, what is this word? Gosh. But yeah, I think I checked out because I was just like, oh, this... I feel like all of their
monologues.
Yeah, or just maybe it's just, I don't know. I'm just not going to say it. But yeah, it was not really a sad story to me. I was just like, oh, you were rich and
you wanted to play with bugs instead or something.
And yeah, and I just remember something about knowing which fork went where or whatever. And I was like, yeah, that sounds really boring, but like, could you just stop complaining and like...
But you were rich, bitch.
Yeah, like, think of all the bugs you could buy, man.
All the lab equipment you could ever want. You could buy your own police force.
You could buy your own lava experiment. Forget Caitlin's mom. You could have your own lava. But yeah, I was like, oh, like, okay, like, I get it. Like, being the odd one. Great. But yeah, I don't know if they had if that's why they chose to have a kid that was being bullied and obviously represent being different and not fitting in, and that probably made it seem even more emotional for good old Draco because he probably could have related to that kid that he almost killed even more so, which would heighten his emotional reaction to that. So I was wondering if that was, I'm sure it was on purpose, but
yeah.
Yeah, now that you said that, now I have to go back and see the computer scene because I was just like, oh, like that was a nice scene between them, but maybe it wasn't because now I'm like, oh, that makes sense that he would have a hidden agenda.
Yeah, maybe I'm just being too kind of not hypercritical, but just like hyper aware of everyone's a suspect. You can't trust anyone type of thing that usually happens in these shows. But
Yeah.
there's something sneaky there.
I usually check out at a certain point because I get tired of trying to figure it out and tired of being wrong that I'm just like, well, whatever. But I also checked out of his sob story of being rich and wanting to play with bugs and not knowing which fork was which. Which do British people still do that? Like, are they still concerned about?
Well, if you're part of the aristocracy,
forks?
I'm sure there's a lot of traditions you still keep up with.
I
mean, there's a lot of Southern families who still keep up with those types of things, like coming out parties and debutante balls, and
yeah,
some traditions die hard. Just
some won't die at all, and they probably should.
You said it, not me. Say it. But yeah, I think look at the royal family. Yeah, some traditions you just keep doing it, and that's the end of it.
Well, I get that for the royal family, but anyway, yeah. And then I guess it ends with Caitlin. I don't even remember what her mom said, but she obviously was not happy about it, and then froze her computer.
Oh, her mom sends her an email telling her that the science test they did on her, which I don't know how the science test could prove this, but they didn't seem that scientific. That the more she uses her power, the stronger it'll get, which is kind of a regular theme with some sci-fi shows and television. It's like if you don't use it, it won't be a problem, and then of course the person instantly uses it. But in this case, it looks like Caitlin now has lost control completely, kind of what you saw in the shower scene where she just suddenly freezes the water without realizing it. So she's losing control of her powers, which I really think is going to set up this whole story where she's going to turn evil. And if she had only gone to her friends for help in the first place, they could have helped curbed her murder tendencies to begin with and help her control the power instead of the power controlling her. I'm pretty sure that's how that's going to turn out. Sorry to spoil it for you, but that's how that's going to play, more than likely.
I am wondering how much money they spent on these tests for basically just finding out that practice makes perfect. I mean, come on. Like, if you practice, if you keep doing something, you're going to get stronger at it or better at it. Wow, what a concept.
Who would have thought? They didn't teach us that in Little League at all.
Yeah, or So, and just how serious she was about it. Like, what were you expecting to find, Caitlin? Like, really and truly, like, what was your end game here? Because I don't know.
I guess she was trying to find a cure, but again, I'm not really just constantly be in a hot tub, wear hot clothing.
Caitlin back from the real world.
I just got out of the hot tub, y'all. It was great. Again, I'm seriously not understanding how she's not going to her friends for help. I know you tried to explain it to me, and it made sense when you explained it, but now it doesn't make sense anymore. Because I'm just like, this is like your family for the past 2 years or so, and you can't bring yourself to trust them at all. Like, what are you doing? Come on, KS, or is it CS? What's her initials? Caitlin?
I think it's C. Yeah.
Come on, Dr.
I don't know. Use your noggin.
Stop thinking about baby eyes.
Yeah. Oh man, she would freeze so many babies' eyes if she was. That's grim. Wow.
It's a little dark.
I got an image of a White Walker though in my head.
Nice. Good time.
Thinking of that. I wasn't thinking of like real babies, but I don't ever watch that part of Game of Thrones. Anyway, but yeah, just I don't know where they're going with that. I don't want them to make Caitlin super evil. I need her to stay on the show because I don't like the other female on the show. So,
oh wow.
I think I would appreciate it more if they did make Iris evil. They would
At
give her
this point,
something.
no. Like, if they're gonna do
Didn't
it,
they
wait
try
two
that
more
with?
seasons.
Yeah, I guess because like any didn't they do that with Lana Lane though? Or
I
yeah, is that
almost
her name?
said
Not
that.
Lana
I
Lane.
don't know.
What was her name?
Or
But didn't she like,
it was
end
on.
up with the bald guy? God, I can't think of anybody's names. Lex. Wasn't she with
Yes,
him for a little bit?
she was. She was. So I don't remember exactly. And again, at some point, I just stopped watching that show altogether because it became the Lana
Mm-hmm.
Lang show. But I know what you're talking about. I feel like I have some recollection of something like that happening.
Yeah.
And it was, yeah, it's just kind of turning I mean, and I know that's kind of what they're doing here is turning the nice girl into a villain. I feel like with Caitlyn, it works because there is such a story with her already, kind of from the
Mm-hmm.
beginning of her having
So
this
much
alter
pain.
ego. All eagles. She
Mm-hmm.
has alter
Ew.
egos. She's all about her aviary skills. Um, her alter
Sorry.
her alter egos, and yeah, to bring Iris into it at this point, like right now, it would just be too much.
I want to retract my
Just
statement.
oh,
Sorry. I want to retract my statement about Iris. I don't want to see her evil, even for one episode.
you just
Less
don't want
is
to see
more.
her.
Less is more.
You're horrible.
Good.
There's and for anyone who may not know, I know this question has come up before, or this comment's come up before. Before you ask, it's episode 5.
Oh yeah.
We do not. Yeah, it is episode 5. We were totally wrong on that, by the way.
Yeah.
But we don't watch. We both stream the show, and we don't watch the previews for next week's episode. So I'm sure some of our questions are answered, and you're like, why are these two so confused and weird? Like, they put that in the preview for the next episode. We get that. For moral reasons that are our own, and also the fact that we're too lazy to apparently Google the preview for next week's episode. We just don't watch them. I think it makes it more fun, personally, for us to speculate wildly. And I personally love to be proven right. And I like waiting a week to find out if I'm right every time.
I don't remember which episode it was. I had come across the preview somewhere in just internet land, and I think I had my notes with me, and I was like, oh, this preview already answers like half of my notes.
Well, see, what would we talk about?
Yeah.
Jeez. We have to actually like have some philosophical opinion on something, and God, you know that you're not getting that from us, let's be honest at this point.
But you know
it's
what?
All fluff, people. It's all fluff.
That's not really our fault. We have what we're given, and if people can't even get to work on time in this show, what do you expect from us?
We are living up to Central City's standards of work ethics. Okay. We are fitting right in with
exactly
all the other citizens of Central City who may or may not show up to work today.
We're really we're just diving in. That's why we couldn't remember anything from the episode, because we were acting like Barry kept changing the timeline over and over again, which is why we kept having to undo things and
redo them.
Yeah, so
switcheroony. You know, we show up for work.
We're here. We're here. We get paid, you know, much like the people at Star Labs,
who someday will be in the unemployment line. Are they collecting unemployment? I need someone to answer this for us. Like, who is paying? Did the fake now dead Harrison Wells, who's now alive because he's the Reverse Flash, and when is that coming back to bite us in the butts? Did he leave the money to survive with? I feel like that's what happened. But on the other hand, at some point, all that cash is going to run out, and they're going to have to get their paychecks from somewhere.
Yes. Apparently, Eobard Thawne is on Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh, what's he doing over there?
I don't know. Apparently, I should be watching this show. That is what I've heard from a friend. But I can't. I tried watching it, and it was really boring to me.
I was also told I need to start watching I was told I need to start watching Arrow, if not Legends of Tomorrow. And I'm not watching Arrow. I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. I've seen 2.5 episodes. That is more than enough for me.
Yeah.
And
can't do it.
Legends of Tomorrow, I just don't have the time, y'all. Come on.
Yeah, there's so many other shows. There are some good shows on these days, and I can't add Legends of Tomorrow to that because I tried and it didn't.
In 3 years, 3 to 5 years, if The Flash is off the air, and we're still podcasting, we'll go back and start watching either of those shows. Maybe not Arrow. Definitely not Arrow, but we're going to watch Legends of Tomorrow, and then we'll do a podcast about that, and we'll be like, oh, maybe if we had watched it, we would know some connections.
Yeah, the only reason I say that particular show is because of, crossovers like Captain Cold, and because they started because of the Flash episode, whatever season that was. But what you should be watching is Supergirl, and I'm behind on that episode, or on that show, but yeah. You should watch that one. Girl power. Yeah, but I don't know. Is that it? Is that all we got?
That's all we got. Again, we apologize for this episode. I feel like this is worse than the episode that we thought we were really bad at, when we were both feeling kind of like tired. And we were both kind of tired and sick at the same time, but we recorded anyway.
Yeah.
And the episode was really boring. That's what it was.
Yeah, because I think there was there was just like a portion where I was trying to figure out how to say hour, and I just repeated it like 10 times.
Which is probably the highlight of the episode.
Yeah. Did your significant other have anything to say about that? Like, was he just like, what the hell is happening?
I don't remember, but I think he might have commented on it briefly. So, but he likes listening to us. I don't know why. He's adorable. He always has nice things to say.
Yeah, that's Devery too. He'll just like crack up, and I'm just like, I feel
nothing
like
else. We've entertained our significant others. Okay, if no one else listens to this.
That's it. That's who we got.
It. No one else listens. It's okay.
We entertain ourselves. I feel like I'm losing some energy right now.
That's okay. I
feel like my eyes are.
I really have to pee, and my boyfriend's downstairs outside, so he doesn't make noise. So that's it for this episode of The Flashers. Woo! Again, apologies for a lackluster episode. We will do better next week. There's always tomorrow. Remember that, people. There's always tomorrow. Here's your little nugget of wisdom to hopefully get you through the weekend if you're struggling right now.
As many of us are.
As some are, at least half the country, give or take. Actually, is it still a half if only half the country voted?
I don't know.
There's
someone like me who couldn't vote, so.
There's some struggling going on out there, but there's tomorrow. And I hate to sound cliche because I've been harping on people for being this cliche. Get out there and do something good for somebody. That's all I'm going to say about that. That's how you get through life, doing good for other people. So hopefully this has been good for you. Give you a little escapism. Yeah. Listen to our other episodes if you need some more.
If you also want to know how to say the word hour or R.
Or hour. You can listen to all of our grammatical and phonetical mistakes.
Yeah, there's plenty, especially when you're tired.
Laugh at our follies. Hopefully, if we've not left you entertained, maybe a little bit educated, a little better.
Yay.
So thank you for listening, and we will see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Should I do a quick Caitlin Snow in the real world?
Yes.
I never watched the real world, so I don't even know. But anyway, guys, it was super fun. It's getting chilly in here. I guess I should go. Bye, guys. I don't even know.
That was horrible. That was truly horrible. And I love it.
Get it out. Thank you.